Just checking if we are live. Yes. Good evening, friends. I, Dr. Archana Tandon, on behalf of ALS Photography Group, welcome you all and our distinguished members of Photography Group who are into noble professions. They will be sharing with us their astounding captures and sharing the multidimensional stories that went behind these creations of their favorite styles. We have with us Ginni Tandon, an aspiring photographer who has a keen eye for every detail. A postgraduate and B.Ed in English, she was pursuing teaching but had to leave her job after her husband got posted to Hong Kong. She feels herself blessed by God for this life and hers, this life of hers, where she wants to learn every possible thing she can and aspires to contribute towards making this world a better place to live in. Presently back to India, she is busy caring for, teaching and instilling values in her cute little 2-year-old.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
It gives me immense pleasure to welcome our second guest and to introduce him. He is a gentleman, my batchmate, who can wield a stethoscope, a machine gun, and a camera with equal ease. This pragmatic photographer is my batchmate, as I've already told you, and that makes it all the more exhilarating. Dr. Hanspal, after passing out from a boarding school in Mussoorie, joined Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, our medical college, very proud of it, for his MBBS way back in 1978. After his MBBS, while we were all clamoring for PG seats, Dr. Hanspal had a wider vision, a vision to explore the world. While treading the uncharted path, he was rudderless for some time, but soon joined BSF as Assistant Commandant, Medical Officer in 1989, and then there was no looking back. He led his unit in many operations, risking his own life many a times. His cool mannerism helping him to wriggle out from seemingly impossible situations. Climbing the ladder of success is fraught with many slips, but obstinate and mulish Hanspal never gave up and finally reached the pinnacle, his faith in Almighty remaining immutable. His ascendancy to the post of DIG medical recently is a culmination of hard work and astute leadership. Apart from photography, his other hobbies include trekking, birding, reading, and latest addition to this list is singing. Last but not the least.
Good evening. Thanks, Archana, for the kind words.
It's a pleasure to have you. Last but not the least, I feel honored to introduce our third guest tonight, Mr. Arvind Patode, who has a versatile personality and has worked in a corporate office for over 35 years, training people. Presently, he is working as a school teacher teaching photography in Sanskriti, Pune. He is teaching filmmaking and guitar too. Hope to see him sharing these tips with us. His hobbies are photography, playing guitar, drawing, painting, astronomy, you name it, and he has it. He conducts workshop in Birdhouse Building for iNature Foundation Mumbai, Nature Trails and Wildlife Photography for DCP Expedition Mumbai. He undertakes work for making the gardens wildlife friendly. An avid traveler, he has been to all corners of India and also traveled to Kenya and Bhutan. Through his videos, he tries to create awareness on biodiversity, wildlife, and global warming. Let us go through the clicks of these photographers as they relate what went through their minds as they took these shots. There are always two people in one picture, the photographer and the viewer. As they speak about their vision, I would request the audiences to comment as to what they interpret by looking at these clicks during the course of the session. I would now request Mrs. Ginni Tandon to throw some light on her clicks as they are shown. Now I go behind the stage.
Thank you, ma'am, for the introduction. Thank you, ma'am. It's my pleasure to be here today.
Thank you so much, Mr. Arvind. I would request Mrs. Ginni to speak about this photograph of hers. Ginni, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm there, ma'am. The photo is not yet on the screen.
Okay. I have okay. Just let me see where it is. Maybe I have not shared my screen. Just a minute. Yes, now it will be there. Is it there?
Yes, we can see Mr. Hans Palser.
Okay, just a minute. Yes. Now it's there?
Yes, there, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, so Hong Kong is a small city with quite a huge number of skyscrapers. People here adore art, and we find such pieces of art scattered in every nook and corner of Hong Kong. This piece stands next to majestic One Island East as a space for passers-by to sit and relax. More importantly, for the domestic helpers in Hong Kong, they enjoy their 2-day leaves to sit and sunbathe themselves utilizing places like these. It also holds a special place in my heart as my son loved to play here almost every evening. And one day as he slept after playing, I utilized the opportunity to capture it in my camera. And this shot was taken by my phone, basically. That's a Sony Xperia Mark II, and which came out really nice.
Well, that was a balanced exposure and a very well-framed example of architecture photography. As we move on to your next click.
Yes.
Yes, Ginni.
Yes, this shot was taken in Hong Kong Metro and was also taken by the same phone, Sony Xperia Mark II. And we find it very easy to click pictures, but finding something to click is the difficult part. This black and white picture shows the veins of Hong Kong. Mass Transition Railways, MTR, as we call it, connects you to almost every habitable island in HongOng. From running underwater to running on the roadside with the traffic, MTR in Hong Kong rests only for 4 hours at night. The picture captured everyday life of people in Hong Kong and has a very special place in my heart as I spent my pregnancy exploring Hong Kong, and every time I stepped into an MTR, someone always gave up his or her seat for me. Busy on their phones or just resting their head, waiting for their stops. People in this black and white photo shows the colors of our life in Hong Kong.
Again, a very balanced picture of street photography, following the basic principles, bringing up the feel and reality to life. And that is the essence of a true photographer. The next picture. Over to you, Ginni.
So just come to the woods, for here is the rest, as they say. My weekend ritual in Hong Kong included one of the most wonderful things I've ever done in my life. Weekdays were for the chorus as we waited for a weekend for our hiking schedules. From walking in the nature to monkey climbing on the mountain peaks, capturing the nature with my camera and tracking my trails to return back home, nature with various shades was stored in my camera. For some reason, bear trees always have caught my attention. Majestic and charming in their own way, they teach us why is it important to let things go in life and welcome the new beginnings. This picture was taken on the way to Cape Diaglor, a simple hike to marine reserves in Hong Kong, and was taken by a Sony Alpha A6300.
Well, that is a very nice camera because it is quite light as compared to DSLRs, the most advantageous part of it.
Yes.
Well, this capture speaks for itself and does convey a very strong message. Your next click. Over to you, Ginny.
Well, this colors attract me, and this shot was taken in for the contrasting colors. As I was concentrating on the concept, I used it to fill the full frame. This was taken on the way to Wisdom Path, a part of Tin Tian Buddha in Lantau Island of Hong Kong. And this was also taken by my phone, that's Sony Xperia Mark II.
Well, that was a good example of art photography. Thank you, Ginny, for such a lovely shot and your inspiring stories.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Dr. D.S. Hanspal, we now would request you to take up the stage as your photographs are shown. Over to you, Dr. Hanspal.
No, thank you, Arjuna. Just want to tell you, I'm using Nikon D5300. So this is basically a shot taken from Chopta, which is in Uttarakhand. We had gone on a trek along with Archana and a lot of our batchmates. So this is basically two peaks. One is on the left is Mandani and on the right is Jhanukut. So these peaks were visible right in front of where you are camping in Chopta. So actually this has been shot on auto mode only. So the aperture was about 510 f10. The shutter speed is 400th of a second, and the ISO is 200. I use that 70 to 300 millimeter lens, and the focal length of this picture is 130 millimeter. So I love the Himalayas, so I just want to click whenever I go on a trek or some trip to the Himalayas. So that is when we clicked this. I clicked this photograph. It was way back in 2018, I believe.
A lovely photograph. We move on to the next photograph. Over to you, Hanspal.
This is basically taken light trails. Like, you know, light trails are basically capturing the moving vehicles or something, a source of light which is moving at night. So basically for light trails, the first thing is you have to have the camera has to be rock steady. So you have to mount it on a tripod. And second thing is you have to have a vantage point from where you can observe the traffic moving. So this I've taken from my flat, which is on the 6th floor in Mohali near Chandigarh. So the settings, you have to keep it on manual mode. My settings were ISO is 100. The aperture is f11. You can, because we are not interested in depth of field, we want to take the whole picture. And the main thing is the exposure time. Exposure time, for this I've kept it 15 seconds. You can experiment with from 5 seconds to 20 seconds. Depends on the speed of the traffic. So this was the first pic I took about on light trails. And I hope to take some more photographs also.
Is that a Gurudwara?
Yeah, that is a Gurudwara right in front of my our house. That is Sohana Gurudwara.
Mr. Arvind Patole, any comment on this photograph?
No, ma'am, it's beautiful. In fact,
any comment on long exposure photography? Your expert advice.
No. The exposure is perfect. There's no this thing. It is showing the trails, the cars which are passing by. the tail lamps are seen clearly in that as a train. And also we can see the Gurdwara, as you mentioned, and also the other buildings. The skyline also is lighted up by distant buildings also. You can see them quite clearly. It's a very good exposure, ma'am.
The best part is the sharpness,
Yes.
which and that indicates that the mount is so good that it did not shake while shooting, and the exposure and depth, everything is very appropriate. So we move on to the next one. Over to you, Dr. Hanspal.
When I in fact bought my camera, I basically bought it for the Himalayan trips and all, because I was more interested in landscape. But I was posted in Jalandhar in the BSF campus. So I started shooting some birds, which are, I mean, a lot of birds were there in the campus. There's a lot of greenery in the campus in Jalandhar. So this is a greater Kaukal. And no, sorry, this I've shot in Mohali, not in Jalandhar. But I started my birding from Jalandhar. So this is a greater Kaukal. I've used the 200 to 500 millimeter. The focal length is 500 millimeter for this click. I have kept the aperture wide, that is f5.6, the widest I could keep, so that I get the depth of field.
Right.
And the shutter speed is 1/1000th of a second, and my focal length was 1250. Actually, for birding, I put it on aperture mode, and the aperture is 5.6, and then I keep the ISO on auto, but I keep the range between 400 to 1600, so that it is set in between that range. And the minimum shutter speed, I keep it at 1/1000th of a second. So that way I get a good photograph of birds and all.
That was a great tip to make the ISO in auto mode. And that helps a lot when one is clicking with, when one is clicking birds. Thank you for that tip. And the most important while clicking a bird is if you get to see the eye, focus the eye and you get a good photograph. And this is a perfect example.
Thank you, Archana.
The next one is a click from Dr. Hanspal. Dr. Hanspal, your comment on this.
This is another click, but this is from my latest place in Agartala, where I'm posted. This is a black drummed flameback, which is a woodpecker. There's a lot of woodpeckers here. I mean, it's very easy to click birds in the campus here. This campus is a jungle, basically, in Agartala. So our campus is located in a jungle. So there's a lot of birds. For this, actually, I've used that 70 to 300 millimeter because I haven't brought the other lens with me. The focal length is 300 millimeter and the aperture is f6.3. And the ISO is again 1600. However, the shutter speed I've kept it 1/60th of a second, 1/160 of a second. So this is the latest photograph which I have clicked of birds, you can say, in Agartala.
Great click again. The ISO 1600 must definitely be needed because you kept the shutter speed to 1/60.
160.
So you could so you could get this shot at 1600. Otherwise, if you increase the shutter speed, the ISO would have increased
by
a lot.
3200 or something.
At 1600 also, I mean, because birds are usually perched in shades, and beautiful birds, you really want to capture them. So you have to compromise on ISO at times.
Yeah, you're right.
So your next photograph. No, so we thank you, Dr. Hanspal. Beautiful clicks, beautiful stories behind them.
Thanks a lot, Archana.
And the master comes last with his jaw dropping clicks, Mr. Arvind Patle. Yes. You are requested to take it up from here as your clicks will be on the monitor.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Basically, yes. This is shot in Bandhavgarh, and usually everyone says, that your camera is good, your lens is good, that's why you're getting good pictures. So this trip, I didn't carry any of my equipment, professional equipment. I took the normal 55 to 50 mm lens, which comes when you buy the basic kit. So that camera and the basic 7D Mark II camera I took on this entire trip. People were laughing that you're going as for a safari, 6 safaris you have booked, and you're carrying such basic equipment. I said, no, I want to try out. Let us see what is the problem using these basic equipment. And this is what you get. If you wait patiently for the animals you can't predict where they'll move. And these cubs were playing in the bush. But my guide was good. He said, sir, you wait, he'll come out. And these small cubs, the tiger cubs, they are very playful. All animal cubs are playful. And they came out. He came out very boldly, and he sat on the road for some time. There'll be another shot. He sat on the road and he stopped all the traffic. All the gypsies had stopped. And then he was showing, that this is my area and I can rule your movements, I can control. That's what he was trying to tell us. And he was looking attentively at every gypsy he was looking, turning his head around and looking here and there. We were just waiting for him to get up and walk, and he got up and he started coming towards us only. So that is the time when I took this image.
You must be in the gypsy when you took this image, because
Yeah,
you're not allowed to get down there.
We are not allowed to get down from the gypsies in India. We are not allowed to get down. And this is shot with a 250 mm lens only, the normal basic lens which comes with the camera. When you buy a kit, you get 2 lenses. One is the 1855 and one is 50-250 for the Canon kit. And this is the lens which I have used over here. And of course, this was whenever I go for wildlife photography, I use aperture priority because I like to keep a background a little soft. So I use aperture priority, and as Dr. Hanspal had said, we keep the ISO on auto, means the maximum we keep at 800 or 1600 ISO, and we lock it over there so that the ISO doesn't go over that. So we keep it at that. So the camera takes care of the shutter and the ISO, and we just have to concentrate on the aperture. So we only see that the shutter speed doesn't go down that much to spoil the shutter, that you get a blurred or camera shake image. So we look at that there is no camera shake, and we see that the shutter is optimum for handheld photography, and we take these images that time, because in wildlife or birds, you don't get a second chance again.
You're right.
Yes.
This is such a cute cub.
Yes, very good.
And each detail has been captured.
And
that is
he stopped the whole line of gypsies for more than half an hour. 35 minutes he was there on the road.
That is the usual story there.
Yes, yes.
When they cross the paths.
Yes.
But you must have gone very low down to take this shot.
Yes, yes. I was on the side. I went down a little on the side and I took it. And this also is also of, these are also not fully grown, but matured they are now. They must be 2 years old, these tigers. There were 3 of them. And the whole afternoon, this is in the afternoon round we had in Bandhavgarh. Nothing was sighted till 4:30. We were waiting. I said, now nothing is there. Then we heard some calls, and then the guide said, we'll wait here at the water, because people say these 3 cubs pass this way every day, and they come and rest on the opposite side of the lake. And we waited over there then. And they came. The 3 of them came slowly, one by one, they started crossing this. This came quite close to the bank. That's why I could get the reflection in the water. So I took this image also. This is also on the normal kit lens. So this is also not having any fancy equipment. And also this is again using the aperture priority. That is maybe 5.6 or 7.1. That is the aperture I usually click in. That is what is used over here also. And as I told you, ISO is clipped at 1600. It doesn't go more than that. So this also ISO might be maximum 400 over here, which the camera must have chosen because it was bright sunlight. You can make out from the background, it is all lit up. And this was taken when the tiger was just crossing the lake.
It is a beautiful photograph. And it does not matter which camera you're carrying. The photographer, the eyes is what matters.
Yes, composition is also very much important in photography. Yes.
Your next photograph.
Yes, this is again also with a 7D only, and I've used 100-400 lens over here. This was when I had been to Pondicherry, that is Puducherry and or Pondicherry we call it in south. And morning I had gone to see the sunrise on the eastern side. We are staying on the western side. I'm staying in Pune, so we can see only the sunrise in Bombay, sunset in the Bombay area if we go. So sunrise was there, so I went early in the morning to see the sunrise. I got very good images of the sunrise also there. And while coming, I saw this hibiscus flower over there, and background it was all in shade, and only the sunlight had fallen on this. So I took
Beautiful.
spot metering over here. I took the spot metering, and I metered only for the petal, and I underexposed it. We have got an EV setting on the camera, so I used minus over there. I must have used minus 1.7. I go down to even 2 also, minus 2 also. I go down at times when I take bird pictures. When I take spot metering, I try to play with that. And this is the shot I took in the morning. So I could get the greens also were very fresh green I got of it, the stem, and the flower, the red was very saturated. Because it was underexposed, I got a good saturated image over here.
What was the ISO here?
ISO will be not more than 400 mil. That is
Okay. This is a beautiful picture.
Yes.
This is a beautiful picture, sir. Lovely picture.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Even I was amazed while looking at it when I came or saw it on the screen.
The other one is also too good.
All
Yes.
pictures, all his pictures.
These
The
are
pictures he shares also. Each picture is very nice.
These are
That-
flamingos we get. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Continue, ma'am.
That is why I'm asking him for the tips so that we can make use of them and get better.
Yes, yes, ma'am. This is near a place near Pune. We have got a lake. They call it the mini Bharatpur of Maharashtra. This is Big One Lake. We have got Big One Dam is there, and backwaters of that dam, Ujni Dam. So we get these birds. They come in the winter normally. From October, they are here till May. They are in Pune. Means about 100 kilometers from Pune. So we normally go in the morning at 4:30. We leave so that we reach that place by 6 o'clock. Take the boat and go there and click these images over there. So the flamingos were there. It was early cold, maybe December or January morning it was, and we had a lot of like foggy it was. The mist had not yet cleared, and I could see them far off. And actually, the boatman is told not to approach the birds and scare them. So he has to maintain a certain distance from the birds. So that's why here I had to use was the 600 mm lens. But the problem with the 600 mm lens was that the angle of view is very small and the boat wobbles on the water. You can't hold the focus onto the bird. You can't freeze on it. After quite some time, I could take this picture, but then by the end of about an hour or so on the boat, I started feeling dizzy because looking through that camera and the images all moving around every time, I stopped after 1 hour clicking pictures. So, but this is what you get in on the backwaters of Big One over there. Plenty of
Yes.
migratory birds are there.
But you must have clicked these flamingos in Kenya also.
Kenya, yes, that Lake Naivasha.
Yeah.
I have clicked over there, yes.
Beautiful birds.
Yes,
But
yes.
they live in particular habitats, right?
Yes, they require mud flats. So usually when we go for wildlife photography, we try to study the behavior of the bird and what is the place where they will be more. And here also we found out that in mud flats you will get them. They'll be in flocks. They are in thousands. I went to Bombay once, and there were about more than 15 to 20,000 flamingos were there. All you could see was just pink dots everywhere along the coast. Only dots were there. It was a beautiful sight actually over there. And these over here we get is maximum 5,000 to 10,000 birds come in Pune. But a lot of people, they go and they disturb them. They are disturbing these birds. These birds fly off. Actually, main thing is in the morning they are there for feeding. That is the most important job they have. They have to keep on eating to build up the energy. But a lot of disturbances there. I don't know when this will stop. But people don't bother about the birds. They only want to go and see them. That is what is happening.
Right, you are absolutely right. And particular type of water is also needed where they come.
Saline water is there, brackish water is there, where these algae is there, where they feed this crust. So they will be there, plenty of them.
Because where these flamingos are found, I've heard that no other birds come. Like they only these can survive in such a is it?
Yeah, that is it's not like that. You get over here, you will get all the freshwater birds also. Ducks are there, you will get in this.
Okay.
You'll get all the birds here. That's why. And every time whenever people come with me for photography, wildlife or birding or anything, I tell them you start your wildlife photography of birds with water birds, because water birds are the biggest. So you don't have to take more effort to spot them and aim them. Jungle birds, they are very small and they're very shy, and they will not stay on one perch for more than 2 seconds also. But so by the time you see a jungle bird and you focus on it, it moves away. So these birds, they will be there. They are big. You can spot them. You can focus. You can lock your focus on it and click n number of pictures, and you return happy. But if you go for a jungle bird photography, if you get even 10 good images in that whole day, you're very lucky.
Well, thank you, Dr. Arvind, for wonderful tips. And I think that is the last.
Yes.
No, this one also we have. I want you to speak on this also.
Yes. This is taken with an aim and shoot camera. Like I told, last 2-3 years I have been doing only video shooting. So I had taken my Lumix. I've got a Lumix 2500 FZ2500, which gives very good videos, from which I've got very good video quality, and I've shot a lot of videos to that. And this was taken in Hampi in the evening. And also one thing advantage of that camera is that it has got a detachable screen. You can remove the screen, you can keep the camera down on the ground and also see what you're taking. Other DSLR which I have, the screen doesn't come out, so you have to sleep on the ground and take if you're going on that level. So this I took I kept the camera down at my knee level, and the screen I turned up, and I could compose it so that I could get this Shankar pinned also in it, and I could get the background of the sky and try to manage to get it 2/3, 1/3 composition of the sky.
Lovely composition.
Yeah.
And a perfect shot, well balanced shot.
Yes, thank you.
So just a minute. Actually, I wanted Mrs. Arpana Bhagwe to an astute photographer on the show, but for some personal reasons, she could not join us. But I loved one of her statements while I was chatting with her, and I totally agree with it. So if she's not on our show, I'll definitely like to quote what she said. That a good photographer requires a good eye, a clear understanding of creating good images, and a good composition, and make good use of available light, focusing on the prime object with a steady hand. And that sums up photography. So next session will be on types of cameras, and I would request all of you to join in with your cameras if you can, and to tell us about the particulars of your cameras, and as I go through the other types. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for logging in. Namaskar.
Thank you, Archana. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Gini.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you.
Okay, see you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Have a good night.
Thank you.